With any good scientific method, one of the first things that you actually want to do is review the research. When reviewing the research, the first thing that I really wanted to look at was how I was actually going to complete the task of this project. So essentially I want to take a look at what is an ethnography. And essentially an ethnography is a study of culture and subculture through a first-person point of view. Essentially you are going to live within the actual perspective, or you're going to study first-hand accounts of the perspective, culture, subculture. Which brings me to the next thing that I researched, and that was essentially what culture is. The thing about culture is there's no one true definition for culture. Definitions typically tend to be materialistic or idealistic, and essentially they tend to focus on the behavioral activities of a particular community. From there, I kind of went into looking at what sociology is, and essentially sociology is the driving force behind the research of an ethnographer. We define sociology as the scientific study of social behavior in human groups. From there, I kind of went to look at what ideology is, and ideology can be understood as either a fashion, or it is seen as essentially a worldview by the dominant group versus the subculture, or how they interconnect. And then I kind of looked at the idea of masculinity, because the whole idea behind bodybuilding is essentially to become more masculine. Even though there are a lot of awesome women lifters out there that do this particular sport and this particular activity, we have associated in the overall culture that this subculture is based off of masculinity. And they say one of the things that makes up modern world is the idea of the conscious self, and that's essentially being aware of who you are and understanding why it is that you do the things that you do. But self itself is defined as the way in which people perceive the message that they are giving to others about their own personal attributes. When it comes to masculinity, it is understood that bodybuilding itself is supposed to show self-improvement, dominance, and power. That kind of goes into the other idea behind masculinity in this particular activity of bodybuilding. It's seen somewhat in a negative light, and it's seen somewhat negatively because of the fact that people believe that men go above and beyond in the sense that they will do harmful things to their body to essentially achieve a status of power over others. What the research that I've seen has failed to lacking is essentially the health benefits that comes from bodybuilding and the other driving forces. There is some research out there that essentially goes into the fact that by bodybuilding you're essentially creating a healthier body, which means you're creating a healthier person, which means you're benefiting yourself, the subculture, and the overall culture in general.